welcome back everyone, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that Brood War OST because we have returned with the semi-finals of Hatchery Cup number 10. Again, a monthly open tournament, open to all, and again, centered around a more friendly European time slot, and yeah, we're just sinking our teeth into the semis. We already saw a couple of really good PvPs. We saw Rostok rise, Geralt as well. We even had some good performances out of both Mindle as well as, Mindle VK as well as UED Soldier. But now we are reaching the upper echelons of the tournament here in the semifinals, and we're actually able to cast someone that's not a Protoss. Crazy. it's crazy. It's wild. It is going to be Wayne versus Rostok. Here we go. And game one going to be taking place on hard lead. Vámonos. Again, Wayne, of course, one of the best Zerg players in all of Europe, but we have seen upsets in the past, and we have seen a lot of these big Protoss names, or even these other Protoss names like your Mindle VKs, Rostoks, Grefs, Night Phoenix. They can go toe-to-toe with a player of the caliber of Wayne. They've done so in the past. Can they do so again? We're here to find out. As here we go, we're diving into game number one, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of hard lead, we have the red Protoss player representing CSO Esports. It is Rostok. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the blue Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle, the ace player of Starlight Twinkle. It is Wayne. And we have been having the luxury of casting and featuring Wayne on this channel on a weekly basis in WTL. He's, of course, the cornerstone of Starlight Twinkle and has had some pretty good success in that tournament so far. Has been able to showcase himself. The team overall, though, has been, I would say, struggling, but we still have a couple of weeks left. A couple of weeks left of the season of winter. So hopefully coming into it, Wayne is going to be in form, not just in WTL, but also leading into DreamHack Atlanta as well. DreamHack is next week, so it's all just ramping up here at the end of the year. It's crazy. We have the end of the round robin stage of WTL. We have the IM Katowice qualifiers, which are tonight, and then we have next week DreamHack Atlanta. It just doesn't stop. Just a very intense period of StarCraft here at the end of the year. And all these players, they all are looking to be in form. I'm sure a lot of players are also going to be traveling for the open bracket of DreamHack Atlanta as well. That's also kind of a big thing that players are getting ready for. But for now, we're kind of easing ourselves into the semifinals. And we have some pretty standard openers. It was a Hatch Gas Pool standard opener here out of Wayne. Likewise, Rostok going for a Gate Expand into the Cyber Core. Everything is looking normal for the time being. We have casted Rostok quite a bit, and I think the last time we casted Rostok against a Zerg player, it was Rostok versus Eba, if I'm not mistaken. And he wasn't looking too bad. It does feel like Rostok is the kind of player that thrives in the mid-game, though. Not so much in the early game. So I don't expect to see anything too crazy like a 2-gate opener or a proxy or a cannon rush or anything wild in the early game. I expect to see something a little bit more different in the mid-game. And there it is. Twilight Council opener. Here we go. We have our tech of choice. It's going to be a Twilight Council. This could go in a couple of different directions. We have already pulled out of gas. This screams Glaive Adepts. Probe is going to be racing back home. And the reason why I say Glaive Adepts is because we have pulled out of gases. If we pull back in, then this could be something more committed, like 6-gate Glaive Adepts, or we could even go into a Dark Shrine alongside this for some DTs. But for now, it should be 4-gate Glaives, which is not all-in, by the way. It is not an all-in opener, not an all-in build, just a way to harass, get across the map, deal some damage, and get eventually into your transition into your third base. As I say that, 3 gates are indeed on the way, so it's going to be 4 gates in total, as 1 is already done, and we should be starting up Glaives momentarily. There it is. Glaives is in production. So 4-gate Glaives. Now, Wayne, it's on him to piece together what's going on. I'm sure he noticed that Warp Gate wasn't delayed. Typically, you delay Warp Gate if you want to go into Stargate play, but it was prioritized. Probe is moving out to take that third base. Ooh, Ling is in position though, and the third is going to be delayed. So Wayne, he has an inkling of what's going on. In a couple of seconds, we should be seeing a safety Roach Warren. For now, though, we are droning. There it is. Roach Horn is thrown down. So Wayne has accurately read that this is a Twilight Council opener. Otherwise, you would not throw it down at the 4-minute mark. It would be too soon and too early. But Wayne, he's aware. He's going to be droning up a little bit further. We want to drone up to around 42, 43-ish. We don't want to go past 45. And then from there, Wayne is going to be building up his Ling and Roach count. There we go. The Adepts, they have been revealed. How many Adepts in total? 9 Adepts, soon to be 10. Now, this is a really interesting variation. Sorry, I should have brought this up earlier. This is a much more economic variation that we have been seeing by quite a number of European Protoss players. I think Strange was one of the first to do it. I'm not too sure if he was the first, but I remember Strange doing it a little bit early on. This is 4-gate Glaive Adepts without the Robo. So no Prison to reinforce. We do get on top of one of those Queens. And we do shade in towards the third base. Lings are in position. Roaches are still on the way. They just started. The Roaches are late, but we do get a good surround. The Queens, they rock up as well, and we will clean this up. The Adepts, they barely get any economic damage. Looking at the Unisols tab, they got 2 drones in total. Only 2 workers for all those Adepts. And now suddenly, Rostok, he loses map control, and Wayne is going to be pushing. He's moving out with his Lings. Going to be focusing on droning behind this, though. So he's just going to poke and prod, pick off whatever he can, but we have plenty of Adepts here back at home. Rostok, he's going to be safe against the Ling harass. But yeah, what I was trying to bring up earlier is, again, this is 4-gate Glaive Adepts without the Robo, so we can't reinforce. This does mean that we just get a faster third, essentially. That's, I believe, the reasoning or the point of this variation is you get a faster third, which is why it's less committed and much more economic when it comes to all the Glaive Adept builds that are out there. Meanwhile, behind this, we have our follow-up tech. It's going to be a Robo and a Forge for +1, and I imagine Immortal production. We are moving out with a second wave of Adepts, but we're ready for it this time. Oh, the Lings, they do go for a surround. The Adepts, they barely do slip by. Ooh, as we do cancel the shade. A wise choice. We had a full wall-off, and Roaches were ready and waiting. That's going to try and pivot away. Rotate back around towards that third. Queens are in position. Roaches likewise in between the bases. And behind this, Wayne, he's running up to 3-base saturation, getting all of his gases. +1 range is on the way. Roach speed as well. Wayne is just setting up all things Roach. Now, I'm curious if Wayne is going to drone up more than this. I'm curious if he's going to go for 4-base saturation or if he's going to cut workers at 3-base, which wouldn't be a bad choice. Based on the openers so far, Wayne should know that he has quite a lot of momentum at the moment. We have Overlords on the way, and this would be a good moment to just cut workers and make nothing but Roach Ravager and push out with a 3-base saturation, especially on a map like Hard Lead. There it is. Rocks are being knocked down. Wayne, he's done droning. He's droned up to 67. That is it. That is all we need. That is all we have. And now we're looking to go for one big 3-base all-in. Yes, we do have a 4th hatchery, but that is only for larva. I do not expect Wayne intends to actually make any more workers. And the hallucination does confirm this. Rostok knows. Now, knowing is half the battle because it's still going to be a tough defense here on the front lines. We have Adepts and Sentries. We need more than that. Immortals, Disruptors, anything and everything that can go toe-to-toe with Roaches, but we have none of that right now. We're going into Colossi. Oh my god. The Prism, a bit of a miss rally. The Prism does go down, and now we can push. What can stop us? We have Sentries to defend. That's a lot of Sentries. That's a lot of force fields. We can just file them down. The force fields are going to be falling. Rostok, he's trying his hardest here to hold on to this 4th base. He's going for another Warping of Stalkers. But again, the force fields, they do nothing. They're getting knocked down over and over again. And the Roach Ravager breaks through. It's getting on top of the Sentries. They're falling one after the other. We do have an overcharge trying to keep everything alive. The Colossi finally does arrive. But the Colossus is just not ideal, not against Roach Ravager, as the 4th base has been broken. We're going to be pulling back for a moment. Again, we don't want to overextend. We're going to be consolidating the army and then pushing it forward for a second time. This time going for the 3rd base. We have to be very careful with the Colossus, but again, Wayne, he's snowballing out of control. Up. Does want the Colossus, is going to be zoning it away, and the rest of his army is dealing with the 3rd base. GG gets called. There just is not enough left over, And Wayne will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, a solid game there from Wayne. The Glaive Adept builds from his opponent, even though it wasn't very committed, even though it was a more economic variation of Glaive Adepts, it still did not deal enough damage. Remember, it killed 2 drones. 2 workers went down, and that was, what was that, almost 20 Adepts? It was 10 initially, and then another 10 afterwards. It was a big commitment to these Adepts, and they just didn't pay for themselves, unfortunately. It was a big investment that did not pay off, and it meant that the follow-up tech was delayed, right? The +1, Blink, Immortal Production, Colossus, Disruptors, whatever we wanted to go in afterwards was delayed in favor of these Adepts, and it just wasn't worth it in the end. Wayne, shut it down. GG. And with that, we are now going to be getting into game number 2. Número 2. Solid game there out of Wayne, but I'm sure Rostok has plenty more builds up his sleeve. I imagine we'll be seeing something different from our Protoss. But now though, we're getting into our second game, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the blue Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle, leading the series 1-0. It is Wayne. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss representing CSO Esports. It is Rostok. Here we go. Rostok spicing it up last game, going for a Twilight Council opener into Glaive Adepts. I expect to see something different this time. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Stargate opener. That would make plenty of sense here on Oceanborn. Stargate opener into Oracles into a third base. Otherwise, we could do something crazy and go for a Robo opener. That is not unheard of. Robo firsts are, to get into faster Colossus, into even a Disruptor drop, typically. That has fallen out of favor. It's very out of meta, but still viable and an option. We shall see. For now, it is going to be a hatch first. Hatch gas pool opener here from Wayne. And likewise, his opponent Rostok going for a gate expand into the Cybercore. So everything looking above board for the time being. Everything looking as it should. No fast gas, no roach rush, no link speed, no 12 pool, no proxy hatch from Wayne, and likewise, no 2-gate opener or shenanigans from Rostok either. Oceanborn wouldn't be a bad map for it, but yeah, we're just easing into it, easing into game 2. It's all good. Second pylon is thrown down in the main base, a pretty interesting location. Based on its location, it could be another Twilight Council, actually. We'll see. We'll see if we go for the Stargate or if we go for something a little bit different. There it is. It is going to be a Stargate. Let's go. Now, it is a little bit closer to the mineral line, which is why I was like, oh, that could be a Twilight Council, actually. But no, it's going to be a Stargate, just a little bit closer to the chest. This is a little bit more efficient economically, just because the probe has to move out... it doesn't have to move out as far to actually throw down the buildings or throw down the pylon. And we'll see if we go for an Oracle or a Void Ray. They both have their place. Oracle is to harass and get economic damage. Void Ray is to shut down the Overlords and to keep Wayne in the dark. Here we go. So for now, the Stargate is done. We're just waiting for the first unit of choice, and it is going to be the Oracle. Okay, part of me was, especially after what happened in game 1, part of me was thinking, yo, we could go for that Void Ray. We could try to keep our follow-up hidden, but no, we're just going for the Oracle. Adepts shading into the natural base. We can focus on some of these drones. We get 2. Pretty good, actually. Pretty good damage. Can we get a third? Up! Up! It's so close. We will get a third drone towards the end, just barely. But now that the Adepts have been killed, now we can move out. That does trigger a big counterattack here from Wayne, going straight for the third base. At the same time, Oracle's moving out. It will miss the Lings. Just barely. And the Lings here of Wayne are designed to delay that third base for as long as possible. And we can see, this is crazy. It's an Oracle first, no Void Ray, into a Twilight Council and Gateways. This is looking like Glaives. I'm really curious. Could be recalling the Stalker onto the other side of the wall. The Lings are just wreaking havoc here, forcing quite a bit of damage actually. The Oracle still not finding much. Got one drone kill at the natural, but was forced out. As we pick off another unit. And there it is Glaives. So the reason why I said that this screams Glaives is just because there's no Forge. There's no Forge here from Rostok. He's not thinking further ahead. He's not looking to get into, you know, any kind of +1 or a stronger Gateway army. As +1 upgrades do not affect adepts. I mean, oh god! Oh my god. The Oracle barely does escape, getting 4 worker kills. Not too bad. But yeah, the reason why this is really catching me off guard, usually if we're going for a Glaive Adept follow-up from a Stargate opener, you do get a Void Ray, because you want to kill these Overlords. You want to maintain map control and keep Wayne in the dark. But we didn't. Instead, we went for an Oracle to harass, and that meant that these Lings could wreak havoc. That meant that the Lings, they could do so much across the map. They delayed this third base for so long as well. And before Rostok even pushes, we're already transitioning. Robo and Forge on the way for +1 and Immortal production. It looks like, again, Rostok, he's already aware that these Glaive Adepts aren't going to be able to do too much. He's already working on that next step. Now, there is still potential. We're going for another big warp in, and we're going to be getting up to 11 Adepts. We're going to be shading out, so this is spotted immediately by the Overlord. Wayne, he sees all, he knows all, and he's not going to defend with Roaches. He has a Baneling Nest instead. Banelings are being morphed in, and Queens are being brought to the table. Lings are amassing. Wayne still on Hatch Tech, actually. Oh my god. I didn't even know. I just assumed that we had a lair. As the Adepts, they come in. Oh, the Banelings. The Banelings, they do crash in. Big connections on those Adepts. Ay, ay, ay. And we will clean this up. It looks like drones are being targeted down, though. That's going to be 6 workers. Economic damage was dealt. Not too bad. Not too shabby. And I'm a little bit concerned just because Wayne doesn't have a lair. It's just a pure Ling Flood here on Hatch Tech. You don't see this too often. But it could work just because he cleaned up the Adepts. We have the Oracle coming in to harass. There we go. Finally, the lair is on the way. 6-minute 30 lair timing, by the way. Very late. Up. The Oracle does go down at the same time. Wayne, he does pull the trigger. He dives into that mineral line. Good force fields. But the Ling Bane is rolling on in. Yeah, the Lings are going ham, and it looks like we cannot defend against this. The force fields are keeping out the Banelings, but not the Lings, and we do connect. GG gets called. There just is not enough at home, and Wayne will take the series 2-0. GG. GG. Wayne in almost full control of that game. Again, just, yeah, really interesting build choice, or build order. Maybe that's a better way to put it. From Rostok to get into the Glaive Adepts the way that he did. Unfortunately, he just wasn't really secure at home. He was delayed. The third base was delayed. Like, there was a lot working against Rostok. And by the time the Adepts arrived, Wayne was more than ready for it. And after he shut it down, you are vulnerable to a counterattack. And yeah, Rostok just did not have enough to defend back at home. Even though there wasn't a lair, even though there was, we were just, again, on Hatch Tech Ling Bane. More than enough. More than enough to break through and to snowball out of control. And with that, Wayne will advance on to the grand finals. GG, well played, Wayne. He advanced on to the finals, where he's going to be waiting for his next opponent. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the replays of the second semifinals. I would have loved to have seen them. Some really big names. Again, we're big fans of some of these players, and yeah, unfortunately, we don't have the replays, but I can let you know that the second semifinals was actually Geralt versus Night Phoenix. Geralt versus Night Phoenix did face off, and that looks like a lot of fun. That would have been amazing to see. And from my understanding, I believe Geralt did overcome Night Phoenix, and Geralt has advanced on to the finals as well to face off against Wayne. But I did mention earlier at the start of the broadcast that this event has something very special, that isn't really done too often in online weekly tournaments. There is a bronze match. There is a third place match. So before we can sink our teeth into the finals, which is going to be Wayne versus Geralt, we can sink our teeth into the third place match, which is Rostok, who just went down, up against Night Phoenix. Let's go. The PvPs, they continue.